Hello, my name is Tamara Grant, and today I'd like to speak to you and provide some information about how adverse childhood experiences can impact a child and the role that a school counselor plays in supporting students who experience them. Let's look at some common examples of adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs. The CDC, or Centers of Disease Control, lists the following: living with a loved one who is depressed, suicidal, or suffers from severe mental health issues, feeling like no one supports them, parents going through a difficult divorce, being sworn at, insulted, threatened, or humiliated, being hit, kicked, or beaten, witnessing the abuse of a loved one, household members who are abusing and alcohol and or drugs, being sexually abused or exploited, not having enough food, clothing, or medical care, having a loved one go to jail or prison. And these are only a few. According to the Child Development and Trauma Guide, some indicators of trauma are running away from home, increased withdrawal, changes in personality, changes in the quality of important relationships, self-harming such as cutting, increased irritability, and the inability to relax. Now I want to share some interesting statistics with you. From my research, I found that ACEs has a correlation to both physical and psychological problems, such as heart disease, mental illness, and diabetes. The CDC conducted a survey and published the results in an ACEs report. The report found that 64% of adults reported having adverse childhood experiences, and 16% said that they had reported having 4 or more. To add to that, for high school students, the study found that 3 out of 4 students reported that they had adverse childhood experiences, and that 20% reported that they have experienced 4 or more. Those are staggering statistics, and so are the impacts. According to the CDC, adverse childhood experiences can affect a child over their entire lifespan. These experiences impact the child's psychological and physical well-being, along with their education and earning potential. The good news is that school counselors are in a position to help prevent and mitigate some of those effects through trauma-informed practices, which I will soon discuss. As previously mentioned, the impact can span across a child's entire life, from psychological and physical damage to education and earning potential. Now, let's look a little closer. From my research, I found that the ACEs that were most common among high school students were emotional abuse, physical abuse, and living in a household affected by poor mental health or substance abuse. These carry long-term effects. The National Child Traumatic Stress Network says that the psychological effects involves having mental illnesses such as anxiety and depression, PTSD, difficulty controlling emotions or behaviors, and being susceptible to drug and alcohol abuse. They list long-term physical effects as abnormal sleeping patterns, chronic stress, being prone to obesity and diabetes, and being at risk for heart disease. All of these can contribute to a weakened immune system. The good news is that studies show that preventing ACEs could reduce cases of heart disease by up to 22% and depression by as much as 78% for adults. Additionally, how ACEs affects an individual's education and career is causing one to have trouble learning and concentrating. There may also be an increase in behavioral concerns and missing an excessive number of school days. All of these things negatively impact academic success, which is linked to a decrease in job opportunities and in turn has a direct impact on future potential earnings. according to the CDC. Now I'd like to educate you on some of the ways that a school counselor may support children through trauma-informed practices. The National Child Traumatic Stress Network defines trauma-informed as being, quote, all parties involved recognize and respond to the impact of traumatic stress on those who have contact with the system, including children, caregivers, staff, and service providers. Programs and agencies within such a system infuse and sustain trauma awareness, knowledge, and skills into their organizational cultures, practices, and policies. They act in collaboration with all those who are involved with the child, using the best available science to maximize physical and psychological safety, facilitate the recovery and adjustment of the child and family, and support their ability to thrive. In essence, this means that all parties that support the children and families, from the teachers and staff to the counselors and caregivers, all recognize that trauma has a lasting impact and respond by working together to create a safe and supportive environment that promotes the resilience and healing of the child. Through research, Watson and Astor described an overview of how trauma-informed practices work. First, there has to be an acknowledgement of trauma by the caregivers, school staff, and/or medical professionals, along with a collective effort to address it. Next, there must be a comprehensive plan in place to ensure the child's safety on an emotional, physical, and psychological level. Then, the school counselor must adopt strengths-based and whole-person approach to counseling when treating the child. And lastly, a trust-based, collaborative, and empowering relationship must be cultivated among all parties involved. According to the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, some adolescents, if given the appropriate support, can recover within a few weeks or months from the fear and anxiety caused by the traumatic experience. Through my research, I've found that there isn't a specific comprehensive framework that is used across all districts and schools. However, there are some commonalities that exist among trauma-informed care given in most schools. Pictured in this framework shows how everyone works collectively to support the child. You will see that each tier holds strategies that are critical in the creation of a trauma-informed school. These strategies and practices influence the interactions between educators, students, families, policies and procedures, and build capacity of communities. So let's look at Tier 1. It is taken from the foundation of the Multi-Tiered System of Supports, or MTSS, which focuses on the student body and overall school climate as a whole. Tier 2 narrows down to support a specific group of kids who are at risk. And Tier 3 supports, they hone in on the individual to provide trauma-specific treatment. Earlier, I touched on what a school counselor's role is in supporting a child who has experienced trauma. So let's take a closer look at what a school counselor's role is within this framework. The American Counselors Association defines the school counselor's role as one who facilitates the implementation of trauma-informed practices and provides a safe environment where students and families can receive encouragement, feel valued, and cared for. In this regard, counselors can assist academically, social-emotionally, and career-wise. From counselors, academic support comes in the form of advocating for student success within the classroom environment. Support looks like collaboration with teachers for consistent routines and expectations, along with positive behavior management plans, such as offering rewards when the student is on track. Social-emotional support can be provided by building trust and giving the student a voice to express their concerns through individual counseling, promoting positive social connections with peers, or even offering small group sessions on building self-esteem and resilience. Career-wise, counselors may offer step-by-step assistance with career and college aspirations, such as identifying career interests, assisting with the completion of college applications, or even connecting a student with a mentor in their field of interest. A counselor may refer the student and or family to outside mental health resources as well. The overall goal is to empower students to make their own decisions so that they can gain a sense of control over their lives. Why is this conversation important, you ask? In a word, it's prevention. It's very important to be aware of and recognize that preventing these types of adversities contribute to a student's overall well-being. I'd like to wrap up by sharing another statistics from the CDC. They found that it's females and ethnic minority groups that are at a higher risk of experiencing 4 or more ACEs. But bringing awareness can lead to stronger lifespans. As you can see, it's imperative that we all do our part. So let's let this conversation be the catalyst of promoting healthier learning environments and lifestyles for all students.